Hello everyone and welcome to Chip and Chase, the NRL Fan Podcast. My name is Steve and this is Dave. Hey Dave.
G'day Steve, how are you mate?
Doing well.
Round?
Yeah, after rep round, this is episode 18 and we are going to be reviewing the games from rep round, including State of Origin Game 2, before previewing games for round 16 of the 2022 NRL season. How did you enjoy rep round, Dave?
Yeah mate, it was really good. I mean, it had everything. It had lots of exciting gameplay, a lot of emotion, a lot of passion for, the descent of all these players. And, mate, it was just a really good setup to what was going to be a great State of Origin Game 2 for New South Wales in the end.
Yes, that's right. Well, let's go through everything that happened in rep round. And we start with the under-19s women's game, the under-19s women's State of Origin. That was won by New South Wales 22-6, and then that was followed closely by the men's under-19s, which was also won by the Blues 32-4. And then we went into the women's State of Origin, which was a standalone game this year. Next year they're going to be doing 2 games, which doesn't make sense to me why you do 2 games.
Yeah, I heard about that.
A best of 3 if you're going to be expanding it. But again, it was the Sky Blues winning 20-14 against the ladies Maroons team, which was an awesome game. I thought this was a really well played out game. The crowd there was loving the spectacle. It was a top quality game, and New South Wales, the skill of their forwards and their backs, especially Isabella Kelly, was just on fire.
Oh, mate. Isabella Kelly, she was instrumental, man. She had that try to win there at the end. It would have been cold down there in Canberra, so it would have been a bit of shock to them. I believe Queensland had won this the prior 2 years.
That's right, yes. So New South Wales won it the first 2 years, and then Queensland won it the back-to-back after that in years 3 and 4. And so now New South Wales are ahead 3-2 on the ledger.
Yeah. So they got one back this year. It was really going for them because we needed one back after Queensland had won the last 2 years. I thought Tara Aitken's try, I don't know if you've seen it, but it was pretty awesome effort by her. And Kezi Apps topped the tackle count with 33 tackles for the Blues, and she had an awesome game. And Destiny Brill for Queensland with 26 tackles. Kira Dibbs, Steve, she's not a bad player. Yeah, she's good in the 5'8" position, has some great passing skills, and the fullbacks in both teams were stars to look out for. There's a lot of talent, and the women's game has come along leaps and bounds in the last couple of years. It's an awesome game to watch, so they're doing really well. So well done to the Sky Blues winning that game for State of Origin. And so all the Blues teams won leading up to the men's game. We were thinking it was going to be let's say whitewash. I was going to call it a blue rinse, but I think that's So it was a pretty. All we can see is blue, Steve.
That's it. So well done to the New South Wales Blues women's team on the win there. Then we went into rep round with the international games, and it started off with the women's Kiwi Ferns up against Tonga, and this was a very one-sided affair with the Kiwi Ferns women winning 50-12 in what was a pretty, as I said, one-sided affair.
This is one of the games I didn't get to catch, but I think the score says it all.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was Kiwis just came out and blasted the Tonga girls. So bad luck to the Tonga girls, and what a performance by the Kiwi girls.
Yeah, and the crowd there was awesome. The Tonga crowd, well, this was played in New Zealand, and it's great to have rugby league back in New Zealand, but the Tonga crowd were just, I think it was like 90-10 in percentage-wise, with the Tongan red flags everywhere. But the Kiwi New Zealand team took on the Tongan team in the men's game, and 26-6 was the final score in this game. And an interesting thing here, I don't know, I can't remember in what I said last week when we were talking about this game, but do you know that there's not one New Zealand Warriors player in the New Zealand team?
Oh my, no balls, no. That's the first I've heard of that, and that's quite shocking to hear, to be honest with you. So yeah, good to know that. That's incredible. But yeah, in front of, as you said, a massive Tongan supporter base. You know, New Zealand just really showed up to ruin the party, I think. Dylan Brown was absolutely instrumental in this game.
Mm-hmm.
He done everything right. I thought Isaiah Papali had a very strong game for the Kiwis too. And Joey Manu, Steve, mate.
Yeah,
doesn't matter where he plays, he's a class act.
Yeah, he is. And Jerome Hughes there at half is, just brings his form from the Storm straight into international games. And just all round, the New Zealand team showed a lot of class.
I think there was a bit of a question mark on Hughes' first try. I don't know for certain he got the ball down, but that was the call and they went with it. So, yeah.
Exactly. So well done to the Kiwi men's side getting over Tonga, and then we rolled into the next game of rep round, which was the Samoa up against Cook Islands. And this was another one-sided affair with Samoa easily outclassing the Cook Island boys. There are a lot of Cook Island players that you don't necessarily recognise, but Samoa are full of NRL stars, and it was again just a one-sided affair.
Definitely, yeah. The Samoan team really kind of talented, star-studded team, mate. Dave Nofaluma got 4 tries in this game, so big effort by him.
Crazy thing is, hasn't even played most of the first grade games for the Tigers this year. He's been languishing in reserve grade with the woes that the Tigers have had, but he put him in a blue jersey there, and they just show what they're made of.
For sure. I thought alongside like all the other boys, Joshy Schuster and Taylor May, Isaac Tago, brilliant games from all of them. You know what I mean? And I thought actually Anthony Milford stood out a bit and had a much better game than we used to seeing him play.
Yeah, even Jackson Paulo, the South Sydney centre there, had a pretty good game. I've been pretty critical of him in South Sydney colours, but again, you surround them with awesome teammates, and you've got the pride and the passion of playing for their heritage and their jersey. They're internationally, they step up, and there's always pride in what they're doing, and they played really well. So well done to the Samoan boys for a good win there up against Cook Island.
Yeah.
All right, then we move on to the other game, which I think was the best game of all the rep games, and that was Papua New Guinea up against Fiji. Fiji were highly touted for this game. You know, everyone expected them on paper to be the better team, yet PNG play with a different style of flair. They're a brilliant team to watch. Their players. Not necessarily first grade name players that you'd recognise, other than Alex Johnson and a couple of those players, but 24-14, this was an exciting game and a great spectacle to watch.
Yeah, wasn't everyone looking forward to this one? The PNG Kumul versus the Fiji Bati, and they didn't disappoint. It was a really good game, Steve-O. David Mead grabbing a try in his last game for PNG.
Yep.
So they sent him out on a good note there. And I thought Justin Olam had a really big game.
He loves it. He's just everywhere. And even Alex Johnson at the back playing fullback. He's usually a winger for South. Obviously, he's played a lot of fullback in the red and green, and is a player that has a lot of experience. But I thought Kyle Labert was awesome at 5'8". Defensively, he had kick out of face all game, and he got him every time. He was just brilliant. And the fullback for Fiji, he's obviously a Penrith junior. He signed with Penrith for a couple of years now. Have yet to see him in first grade, but he was outstanding and was a highlight for Fiji. But even Lamb there stood up, and the halves for PNG really were. Leading them around the park, directing them in where they needed to go. But just Labert, for me, he was just awesome, I'm surprised we haven't seen more of him in first grade. He's had a few first grade games, but yeah, just the way he played here, I was really impressed.
Yeah, for sure. It was awesome game by all those boys. Did you see Justin Olam's little grubber through for someone's score on the inside? They were saying that he had it been burned into his head seeing Cameron Smith do it to
Over the years.
Billy Slater over the years.
Exactly.
He just pulled that out. So yeah, it was exciting.
Yeah, so Taruva was the fullback for Fiji that I was really impressed with.
Thank you.
So yeah, he was outstanding for Fiji. But 24-14, well done to the Kumuls, beating the Fijian boys 24-14, as I mentioned. And then State of Origin Game 2. It was do or die for the Blues. They had no safety net with the Queensland team having won Game 1. It was taken to Perth for Game 2 to see what they could do, whether they could manage to level the series. And boy, did they do that, and emphatically they took out this game in a whopping fashion, 44-12. You were mentioning before we recorded that it was pretty even up until half time.
Yeah, mate, 14-12 at half time, and look what a total change in attitude for the Blues from Game 1. I know there was a few new inclusions to the side, which I thought they done their job and they were good. But mate, it was just an absolute whooping to Queensland in Perth after half time. Once the second half had started, sorry.
Yeah.
It was exactly what they needed. I thought Matty Burton, Steve, on his debut was absolutely awesome. He just born for Origin, mate. He knew what to do straight away, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
exactly. He stood out. He's and I was glad to see that they were able to bring him in some fashion as far as being able to get his kicks involved. He put up some absolute sky burners. They were just impossible to catch.
Scary.
And I thought Jake Trbojevic, another of those players brought in, never should have missed out on Game 1. He set 100%. The tone in defence. Oh. And you could see that they were just more aggressive and more, their line speed was just so fast. They were getting inside, up in Cherry Evans' face. They were really getting him to the ground, and it was a total different dynamic as far as the defensive aspect of New South Wales game in Game 2. So well done to Fittler. I mean, everyone was questioning whether or not it was panic stations, why so many changes. As he said, Burton was awesome in his first game. Trbojevic was amazing. The idea of bringing the hooker Coruscant in to start the game for the first half hour, and then Cookie played the rest of the game. I thought Coruscant was really good in getting the Blues onto the ball and bringing them. He's just got this kind of craft about the way he plays at dummy half. He fakes one way, goes the other, and that keeps the defence guessing. And then Cook comes on when the defence is starting to tire, and he was, he didn't do anything brilliant, but you could tell that the fresh legs really helped the Blues.
Fresh legs came on and he done his job. Yeah, I think Coruscant was brilliant in the first half, however long he was on for. Mentioned to Paddy Carrigan from Queensland, massive 41 tackles, Steve, so big workhorse game from him. To'o and James Tedesco running for over 250 metres each, so big metres for those boys. And I mean, Nathan Cleary, Steve.
Oh, masterclass. He really took the criticisms from Game 1 on his shoulders and, took it into Game 2 knowing that he had to step up. And, he scored a couple of tries of his own, one virtually untouched. So he was very dominant display in this game. And I thought the back three for New South Wales, Tupu again was awesome. He doesn't look like he's ever very excited about playing. He just does his job. Where To'o and even Luai, who I'm not a big fan of, I mean, his try came at a crucial time.
Try, wasn't it?
Yeah, nothing was happening. He just got the ball and then saw a lazy forward, and from the marker didn't chase either, and so
really impressive from him.
He did a great job getting over the line, and the points just kept piling on from there. You mentioned Tedesco; he was in everything. Just running, like they said, it looked like he had spiders on him at some times. People just didn't want to touch him.
Yep.
A really good game by the Blues. Everyone did their job. Even Angus Crichton, who I wasn't, so impressed with his selection, didn't do anything wrong. So he did everything right. So a great game by the Blues, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not they stick with the same team for Game 3.
Oh, I think he's got no choice to but do that now.
Knows?
You know what I mean?
Who knows?
After that whooping, Junior Paulo, I thought, had a very strong game too. He got close to scoring a couple of times.
Yeah, he did.
Good word by him.
Yeah, exactly. So well done. And obviously, there's lots of controversy around the sin binning at just before halftime, which was obviously bit dicey as to whether or not he should have been sin bin. You're of the opinion that he should have?
Yeah, look, he was doing it for a long time, man. It was Klein just got fed up, mate. He couldn't keep watching it, so I think he got him just at the right time, not too late and not too early.
Yeah, so I think there'd been a couple on the run. While they weren't all of the penalties, that is, or six agains, while they all weren't for the same thing. It's obviously he just had enough with all the hold down and
constant infringements.
Exactly. So a lot of people were up in arms about the sin binning and whether or not that had a massive turning point in the game. And obviously those 9 minutes after halftime that they had without him was where the Blues took their toll with the amount of they took advantage of having that extra man down. And so you just got to go to the whistle and well done. That's it. Well done to the Blues, winning an emphatic game there in Perth, 44-12, and we now look for Game 3, the decider, to be played up in Queensland at Suncorp Stadium. Not going to be easy to win up there. I thought the crowd was probably 70-30 in favour of New South Wales out there in Perth. It sounded like it. Yeah. So well done to...
Isn't that going to be a massive game up there for Game 3, Steve?
It is indeed. All right, so now we look to round 16 of the NRL season to see what's going to happen now that rep round is over, where we're going to go for the remainder of this season. We start with the Manly versus the Storm game, and wow, isn't this going to be a cracker? Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, look, I think Storm backing up, a couple of their players backing up after Origin and that, they're going to come out and annihilate Manly. So I've tipped the Storm in this one. Okay, so yeah, I'm tipping Storm as well. I think they're just too classy at outfit at the moment. And this one, while it is played at 4 Pines Park, Brookvale Oval for Manly, I think we kind of set our minds back to that Battle of Brookvale back many years ago now, where everything ran riot and they all got into a bit of a stink. But this is a different era, and I think the Storm will be too classy for Manly. Yeah, Cherry Evans won't be fighting nobody that night, mate, that's for sure. Then we look to Game 2, which is played on the second game on the Thursday night, and this is the Knights up against the Titans. This will be played at 6 p.m. at McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle, which is probably why I will tip Newcastle in this one. Neither team doing very well. The Titans obviously coming last, 16th at the moment, and the Knights on 12th position on the ladder. But it's pretty even as far as your thoughts on this one. But I think Knights at home might just get up. Two teams at the lower side of the table at the moment. So, mate, I think Titans are due for a win. So even though it's there, I'm going to go for the Gold Coast here. Okay. So we differ on that one. Then another cracker of a game. Panthers up against the Roosters. This one played at Bluebet Stadium in Penrith. Look, the Roosters are a good team. They're currently just outside the 8. Thanks to their loss against the Eels last round. And the Panthers are flying high and sitting in first position. And being that it's at home, I'm seeing a Panthers win here. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, cross out everything in your to-do books. In your diary, all your appointments. All your plans. Friday night, 8 o'clock, Panthers versus Roosters. Panthers to take this one, Steve. Okay, there you go. We agree on that one.
Then another interesting game. This one, Bulldogs up against the Sharks, Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. at CommBank Stadium in Parramatta. This one, I'm going to go the Sharks. I know the Bulldogs are coming off a win, and that was a pretty emphatic win against the Tigers. They've had it, a week and a half or whatever it is now to, the 2-week break to kind of savour that win. But the Sharks are a good team and a good outfit, and even though it's at CommBank, which it really doesn't favour either team, it's not like it's a home ground advantage. I'm going to go Sharks.
Yeah, probably favours Dogs if I've got to pick one of them being at CommBank. You know what I mean?
I mean, it is their home game as far as the entertainment and all the crowd and everything like that. But it's not really a ground that they'll think about as being a home for them.
For sure, but as a supporter base, I can see the Dogs getting a lot more supporters out there than the Sharkies. So, look, Dogs have won their last 2 games in a row by quite big margins. I think 38 and around there. So this one, I was kind of tossing it up, but again, I think the Sharks are going to be too strong for them there.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Then the battle of the Queensland teams, the Cowboys sitting in 3rd place up against the Broncos, who are sitting in 5th place. This is played at Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville, which will probably favour the Cowboys, obviously. And while both teams are going really well, and this could go either way, I'm going to go with the home side here and pick the Cowboys in a close one.
Wow, yeah, it's always an awesome clash, little brother versus big brother. Mate, I'm saying Broncos are going to keep on their winning streak, and they're going to beat the Cowboys this time around. So what a super Saturday this is, huh?
Yeah, great 5:30 p.m. game after that other one. So another second game that we differ in our tips. And then you talk about the Super Saturday. It continues with our teams, rivaling each other. The Rabbitohs up against the Eels, Saturday night, 7:35 p.m. kickoff at Accor Stadium, home ground of the Rabbitohs. But I don't think the Rabbitohs have been playing anywhere near as well as the Eels. And while I will hope for a Rabbitohs win, I'm going to be tipping a Parramatta Eels victory on paper.
I just don't want to jinx anything. Eels.
All right, so that'll be an interesting one. Then the 7th game of the round, Sunday, 2 p.m. This is the Warriors up against the Tigers, 15th versus 14th. Mount Smart Stadium back in Auckland for the first time. How great's that? For a couple of years, this will be a big crowd, I imagine. The New Zealand team getting the fans out there will want to support their team after not having them play at home for a couple of seasons. That, I think, will probably get the Warriors home, but who knows?
Yeah, I had Tigers down in this one,
really?
But I just realised that it's Mount Smart's the first time back for them in a long, long time. So I'm going to change my tip to the Warriors here.
Okay. And interesting to see that Cameron Ciraldo knocked back the Tigers on their offer to coach them. So
I saw that.
That's not good. But anyway,
not at all.
Then the final game of round 16. This is the 4:05 p.m. kickoff at Wynn Stadium in Wollongong. The Dragons up against the Raiders. This is 8th versus 11th. But this will be so close. These two traditionally have really close games. But yeah, the Dragons sitting in 8th, probably surprising a few fans, while the Raiders have been up on the upswing.
Yeah.
This could go down a golden point, but I'm going to stick with the home team and go Dragons.
Again, what a beautiful way to end a Sunday. Get home, put the pajamas on, get a cup of tea ready, and watch the Dragons Raiders, mate. Yeah, look, just because it's going to be an awesome game, I agree with you, but just because of the fact that it's in Wynn Stadium, I think the Dragons will lift and get the money in this one.
Okay, there you go. Well, that's it. A shortened episode with us just reviewing rep round and then giving our tips for round 16 of the NRL season. But thanks everyone for listening to and watching our episode of Chip and Chase, the NRL Fan Podcast. We'll be out there, Dave, watching the Eels versus the Rabbitohs. That'll be an interesting one.
Don't talk to me. I don't want to know you that night. What are you talking about? Yeah, it was a bit of a shortened episode tonight, but It was a good one because we got to review rep round and the Origin win and take a look at the upcoming round. I'll see you there, mate, at Combank at Accor Stadium on Saturday night there.
Sounds good. Well, thanks again, everyone, for watching. This has been episode 18 of Chip and Chase, the NRL Fan Podcast. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Bye, Steve.
See you, Dave. Take care.